incredible to think that Berkeley Powerbait was first introduced in 1988. Since then, millions of anglers worldwide have enjoyed catching more fish with this breakthrough technology.
But look at that.
Like most soft baits, Berkeley Powerbait is made of a tough PVC plastic, an adaptive material that can be used to develop limitless numbers of realistic shapes like craws, minnows, worms, eggs, and other fish-catching profiles. Unlike regular soft baits, all Powerbait shapes are infused with powerful Powerbait flavor that fish taste when taking a bait. And because of this flavor, they hold onto Powerbait up to 18 times longer than regular soft plastics, giving you more time to set the hook.
With Powerbait and the research we've done, that's a guarantee that they think it's something that is good and something that they can eat. That's why you're going to catch more fish.
Berkeley scientists have spent more than 25 years perfecting Powerbait's irresistible scent and flavor. Yes, the Powerbait you buy today is even better than the bait you grew up with.
Fish do have a taste system. They can detect many of the same things that we can. However, they're not necessarily turned on with the same chemical substances that you and I are. If you can determine what those key chemical ingredients are, the part that the fish is actually responding to, then you're much further ahead when it comes to formulating chemical baits and attractants which are going to turn on the fish.
Oh, chigger cross.
Powerbait trout baits are famed for their ability to catch fish, and now they're available in dozens of fish-catching colors and formulations. Powerbait shapes like the chigger craw, power worm, ripple shad, and ribworm are dominating leading bass and walleye tournaments with numerous wins over the years. And panfish anglers find baits like the Powerbait wiggler and teaser are deadly on their favorite species. Berkeley Powerbait is available in several packaging options, including 3 sizes of resealable bags and dozens of color combinations, so you can find the exact bait you need for the waters you fish. Berkeley Powerbait. Fish bite and won't let go.
You know, to catch fish like this consistently, not only largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, walleyes, northern muskies, anything like that, a lot of times the words to keep in mind is simple. Keep it simple. Some of the best lures and presentations that catch a wide variety of fish are real simple to use. And what do I mean by simple? Cast it out, engage the reel, and start reeling it in, and the bait is built where it does all the work for you.
How do you throw the new 360 GT? It's something that's going to work in multiple different settings. It's so versatile. That's the real key about it. There's no wrong way to fish this bait. You know, it's so streamlined. You could burn it over grass flats. You could throw it out there and wind it slowly on the bottom and bump rocks. You can fish it way out deep in 30 and 40 foot of water. There's no wrong way to fish it.
You know, another cool thing about the 360 GT is anybody can fish it with any type fishing equipment that you want to throw. You can fish this bait on spinning tackle, bait casting, open face, closed face. It really doesn't matter.
This is a bait that is a search bait. It's a bait that's going to help you find more fish and catch more fish, and that's what's important.
This is truly a go-to bait. And it's so surprisingly, when you're throwing a bait like this 360, the idea, cast it out, turn the reel handle. That's it. That's it. And I mean, it is an amazingly productive bait. Incredibly productive.
This one here hit my little Super Spook Junior. Oh, look at the size of it. Oh, don't. She's jumping. Let me get her for you right here. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, what a fish. I love it when they hit that thing. You just move it a little bit and stop it. Give them a chance to find it. And they can really bust it. There she is. Whew. Wanted some of my little Super Spook Junior right there. A nice fish and healthy. Whew. Let me get her back in the water. Boy, that was a nice one. Let me show you what I caught that fish on right here. Man, what an awesome lure. Has that side-to-side walking the dog action. Use it with a soft action rod. It'll really catch a lot of fish for you. You know, the Zara Spook family of lures is a great series to use from early spring all the way through early summer when these fish are moving to the bank. But once they move off the bank from spawning, you can call a fish up from 15 to 20 feet deep with this thing right, with a Super Spook Junior. They just have that natural walking action that calls fish from a long distance. Don't overwork it. If you don't get a strike, slow it down. Sometimes they want it just super slow. Sometimes they want it running like they're running from a bass chasing a shad. But a Super Spook Junior, you want to make sure you can fish one of these things in the springtime to early summer. A deadlock cinch winner. Come on up here. Oh, he's coming. Don't jump. Come up here, sweet pea. Let me get my hands on you. There he is. He's a nice one. This is the kind of fish that most anglers are really trying to catch all day long, because big ones will take care of themselves if you catch enough of this size right here. And this little bait right here, it's called a Pond Magic spinnerbait, made by Booyah. Let me set her in. Get back out there. All right, let's take a real close look at my little bug right here. This is a Booyah Pond Magic tandem spinner. Now, it's made to fish on light tackle. You need a spin cast or a spinning rod. You could throw it on a real limber bait caster, but this lure is all about getting bites. Whether you're fishing a small stock pond, a lake, if you're having trouble getting a bite, downsize your lure. When you're using a Pond Magic, what you want to do, it's a target bait. You want to find an old stump, a log, a boat dock piling, a piece of brush, some moss, make you an accurate cast, and just start reeling it about 6 to 10 inches underneath the water. The little blades it's got a ball bearing swivel on it, and let me tell you, a stout hook. You can land a 8-9 pound bass. There's been lots of fish caught from 2 to 4 pounds on this little Pond Magic. If you don't have one in your tackle box, you need one.
Oh, wow! What a bite! Oh my gosh. You talk about a heart-pounding excitement, the Booyah bus. I can tell you right now, if you don't have a strong heart, you probably don't want to throw one of these. Grow up to get bigger there, buddy. Let me tell you a little bit why it's a heart-pounding lure. It's got super shiny blades on it. It's built with a built-in clacker, so when it spins, it's very loud. The fish are able to zone in on it. They're able to find it. When you got something loud like that, it's an irritating thing, but yet it's also an attraction. So when the bass hear it, they may be far away, they may be close, but there's two things that's going to happen. Either it's going to irritate them into biting, or they're going to come and find it and bite it just the same. It's got extra large 3D eyes. It's got red bleeding gills. And the purpose of that is when it's coming across the water and the bass comes up, he don't have much time to look at it, but when he does and he sees these eyes and he sees a scaredness in their eyes, I think they really, really like that. If you don't have any of these Booyah buzzes, you need to get some soon.
What makes the rooster tail so terrific and such a multi-species lure is the fact that it features a pulsating hackle tail, a weighted body, a blade that is a semi-wide blade, so you can cast it and fish fast, prospecting for fish, trying to find fish, and then slow down once you find them and really concentrate on them, and it'll maintain that slow speed. The rooster tail is available in 10 sizes, up to 1 ounce in size, and over 100 finishes. It's the most versatile multi-species lure around. You gotta try one. Lake trout. Smallmouth on rooster tail.
Every bass angler in the world owns a crankbait. Most own dozens of them. They come in many shapes and sizes, colors and patterns. Some run shallow, others are designed to plunge deep. There are aggressive wobblers, subtle wigglers, and even some actions that defy description.
Oh, whoa, did you see that? That'll get your attention.
Certain baits look like minnows, while others resemble crayfish or bluegills. Continually being refined and reinvented, crankbaits inspire innovation and creativity, and they just plain catch fish. With so many crankbait models, styles, and variations on the tackle shelves, you'd think this kind of lure would have long ago achieved its optimum design. Well, you can guess again. There's always room for improvement, especially at Rapala, where good enough is never good enough. That's been veteran tournament angler David Fritz's motto for as long as he can remember. An admitted crankbait fanatic and an undisputed crankbait fishing expert, Fritz was never satisfied with any off-the-shelf crankbait.
I was explaining to Yarmo Rapala back a few years ago what we could do to a crankbait that would help the average guy catch more fish. And I can honestly say that Rapala is probably the only company that could do that, and absolutely they have done it.
And so, from these first humble meetings, the Rapala DT Series crankbait was born. Building this one-of-a-kind series of precision diving crankbaits was quite an assignment, because in order to produce such a lure, several unique design features had to not only be fashioned, but fitted together. First off, you need the proper lip design. Actually, a different lip for every depth level. Simply using the exact same design and shape and making it larger or smaller doesn't work. Rapala's DT Series lips are all made of the finest ultra-thin polycarbonate materials to withstand punishment. Each is also shaped and angled a bit differently for different depth levels. In general, lips on the shallower lures are smaller and angled downward, while the deeper divers have larger lips that face more straight forward. All DT lures are made of Super Select balsa for maximum lifelike action.
I always put faith in wooden crankbaits. There's something about wood that is more consistent than any other material. And when we started with this good balsa bait right here, we put a thin lip to make it dive faster, dive a little bit deeper. We put some weight in it to make it get down in that zone a lot faster. And guess what? You got the fish catching this crankbait that's ever been made.
Each is carefully balanced with internal weights, sound imitating rattles, and the finest components. And the body shape tapers to a thin tail design, crucial to producing that special strike-inducing action for which all Rapalas are famous. Each DT Series crankbait was painstakingly engineered, tested, and manufactured to dive quickly and run at their predetermined depth level. The resulting family of lures accomplished everything David Fritz asked for and even more.
Another challenge was being able to make a bait that you could throw a long way. And I'm going to tell you what, if you have a crankbait that will outthrow this, I want you to call me because I want to throw it. These things throw forever.
You know, the fascinating part about deep cranking is we're oftentimes trying to envision in your mind how this structure is laying out, So you're really concentrating on your feel. And oftentimes, if you get a push on a bait, you can twitch your rod tip, give and go, whatever the case may be, and oftentimes trigger that reluctant fish into striking like James got. There's one
Mark,
too.
that's a big bass. I felt him. He just ate it. I mean, he didn't. That was not a push. That was a chomp. That was a chomp.
Oh, you got a good one, James.
Yeah, there we go. That's a bigger
Get
bass
yours
there.
first, bud.
Yeah, boy, did he eat it. Holy mackerel.
All fish have what's termed a strike zone. When they're active and aggressive, their strike zone is large. Just get a lure near them and they'll probably bite. But when they're inactive, their strike zone is small. You have to almost hit them on the nose to get a response.
Nice.
Beautiful. You could see how this guy hit the bait. He had all the hooks in his mouth.
Depth is also an important part of that strike zone. Your lure must be worked at the right level in order to be effective. If the fish are at 10 feet, lures that run at 4 to 6 feet or 13 to 16 feet might simply be ignored. But a lure that targets and runs at the 10-foot level will probably get a response.
He just eats the bait. You can see that the competitive urge. There's a school of bass on this spot. We pulled up here and made about, 4 consecutive casts, and we've had 4 consecutive bites. That's a good sign.
That ain't all bad.
Yeah, no.
Thus, a crankbait's ability to work precisely at the desired depth is critical.
Come on, little girl. You know, another wonderful aspect that was built into the DTs, especially the 10s and the 16s, is the fact that you can get this lure by pausing it, as we've discussed. You can get this lure to run at the angle that it's running at this point. Pause, give the rod tip back to the lure, and the bait will actually float up slowly, and while it does, it turns and does a 180. You just show that again. As it's running across, you pause, give the rod tip back to it on slack line. The bait backs up and turns and spins and does a 180. Then you initiate your retrieve again, and it's got to swing out real wide to get back on track. That's a huge triggering tool, and the DT's got it built into it. You know, over the years, and especially last year, we spent a lot of time with the new SureSet hooks and evaluation process with all our pro staff and a variety of different guys. And in fact, we're finding out through our research and the time we've spent on the water that time and time again, your higher percentage of hookups will come if you have SureSets on them. And that's why we made the position this year to offer so many SureSet hooks in with the DTs, the 16s, 10s, 6s, and 4s alike. Though they look big and cumbersome, they really do work, and it will enhance your fishing.
Okay, that's it.
Feels like a better one.
I'm going to SureSets. That's all I know. Just on the back hook. There's one.
Out a little further, right?
Yep. I got 2 fish. I got 2 bass. Look at this. Look at this.
Whoa, come here, boy. He's a leaper. Oh, that last hook came out of there. Look at that. There we go. That fish had this whole bait engulfed in its mouth. You can see that. He really wanted that lure. We were talking about color selection and how important that can be. And you can also apply this to walleye fishing as well. And even muskies, when you have fish following the bait and sometimes nipping at it, and they're not really getting on the lure hard, a lot of times something as subtle as a color choice can make a big difference on the number of bites you get. We'll get her back in the water. Come on, back into the depths. There we go.
As we've seen today, crankbait color patterns sometimes make a difference. In clear water, for example, we often use natural forage patterns that closely mimic the bass's natural food. Bass can see well in clear water, and baits that look good enough to eat tend to get bit. In dark water, however, natural forage patterns are less important than high contrasting colors that help bass locate lures in the murk. Crankbaits with dark backs and brilliantly colored sides are simply more visible to help trigger more strikes. Throughout the bassin world, regional color preferences develop according to local water color and types of forage. That's why Rapala DT SureSet series offers a range of high contrasting color and forage patterns. What works in one area or watercolor may not be the best choice in another, but if you show the fish a variety of choices, you'll usually find at least one pattern they like.
Whether casting crankbaits is your forte or just another part of your fishing arsenal, Rapala's DT series belongs in your tackle box. Each lure is hand-tuned and tank-tested to work right out of the box. There's no fumbling with pliers trying to twist the eyelet this way or that, and you'll never have to switch hooks or split rigs. You already have VMC's best hooks and hardware as standard equipment. And the paint jobs? These beauties won't fade or flake even after a hard day of fishing. Rapala's DT series, designed by champions for anglers who want to fish like champions. Rapala's new DT Flat series, a logical extension of our acclaimed Dives 2 family of crankbaits.
Nice bump on that one. Got it right there with the sure set on the tail and on that DT Flat. Wow, what a fish.
So why a flat-sided crankbait, you might ask? After all, Columbus proved the world to be round, and fat-bodied crankbaits have dominated the bassin world for years. Well, at Rapala, we're not out to rewrite history, just to make it. And in the fishing world, flat just might be the shape of things to come.
We'll talk a little bit about why this lure is so unique and so different than a normal round crankbait. This bait actually has a totally unique action, and the reason for that is it has flat sides and it also has the coffin bill. Those combinations of both of those things makes a very, very unique action in this bait. Unlike a round crankbait, when it hits a piece of cover and just goes off to the side and just keeps its normal retrieve going, this bait has what we call a tripping effect. In other words, when it hits a piece of cover, it wants to trip itself and then right itself. In other words, it's a totally unique action to any other crankbait. And the reason for that is the coffin bill is the main reason, but also the flat sides. Now, this bait, when it actually trips itself and it starts its retrieve, again, you don't just have the side-to-side wobble, you also have the roll. And that's very unique, and it's going to trigger a lot more strikes in that shallow water.
The Rapala DT Flat is available in 2 sizes. The original DT Flat 7 dives to 7 feet, while the new DT Flat 3 excels in shallower areas of 3 feet or less. They're available in 6 DT Flat colors and in 5 Sure Set series colors, with metallic paint scales that add a shimmering flash on the retrieve. To enhance their flat sides, new color patterns were developed to provide the maximum amount of contrast, with slightly muted colors carefully selected to be effective in shallower water.
Shallow running crankbaits like the Flat 3, they're full profile. Although this bait is flat, it still has a very thick profile. It's got a short, stubby lip, and that type of bait is really good for coming through cover. Lay down trees, brush tops, flooded brush,